I've just spent 2 days in Les Deux Alpes riding the brand new RockShox Lyrik fork. And when I first saw it, I thought, hey, it's just a pike. It's got 35mm stanchions, it's got Maxwell lowers, it's got a charger damper. But then when I rode it, I realized this is a completely different proposition. It's a lot stiffer, the damping's got more support, and it's got way better small bump sensitivity. Now there's 3 key ways that they've improved the stiffness without having to increase the size of the chassis. And the first one is that they put more material into the lowers. They've also got a deeper crown, so that gives a lot of stiffness up the top of the fork. And at the other end of the fork, they've got these torque caps, which is basically a bigger surface area for oversized hub end caps to contact, and that gives you a lot more steering precision. So that's how they've improved the chassis of the fork, but that's not all they've done. They've taken on the inside, they've done a lot of work with the air spring, and from stuff that they've learned with the debonair on the rear shock, they've taken that and they put a larger negative air chamber onto the air spring on solo air. And so what that does is gives it way more small bump sensitivity, so you get like less arm pump, less hand pain, and you get better grip too. But that improved sensitivity isn't just about the air spring. RockShox have switched to SKF seals, both for the main seal in the casting and the seal on the damper shaft. So you've got reduced friction in both areas and extra sensitivity from the increased negative air spring. And if you've not ridden at Les Deux Alpes, what you probably don't realize is this place is riddled with break and bumps. And considering I'm riding a 170mm version of the fork, I've been blown away with the fact that I haven't had any arm pump, I don't have hand pain, and I've been really impressed. I mean, when I first heard about the changes they've made, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a tweak, but it's a big step up in performance. RockShox have been saying you shouldn't be thinking of this fork as a pumped up pike, you should be thinking of it as a slimmed down boxer. And I've spent some time on Boxer World Cup in the past, and this thing's actually smoother than the Boxer World Cup. And that's probably why RockShox have taken that spring technology onto their downhill fork as well. And it's not just Lyrik lending technology to Boxer. This fork's actually got an adjustable shim stack for rebound, which came straight off Boxer. So if you want to break the fork down and change your rebound shim stack, you can do that. It's fully tunable. The stock settings for me felt great, so I have no reason to get my hands covered in oil, but if you want to do that, then you're totally free to do that. What's also interesting about running the stock settings is this fork in 170mm guys comes with one bottomless token. And normally what I found with pike is I take the standard setup and I add some tokens to get extra progression. I've been running this one 100% stock and with one token, and the progression rate feels much better than on a pike. Previously I've said that I'd like RockShox to have the tokens in the forks, and then if you can't get the travel, you can take them out. But they seem to have just got it dialed so that you don't need to touch it at all. So one of the big things when RockShox was designing the new Lyrik was, shall we keep it 20mm? Shall we go to 15? And in the end, they decided, let's keep it 15, keep it with a quick release for convenience, taking your wheel in and out, put it in the car, whatever you need to do. But what allowed them to do that was the torque cap compatibility, and that's the bigger contact between the hub and the dropout. So you've got stiffness there. Obviously, if you're running SRAM wheels, then you're good to go. Other hub manufacturers will probably get on board with this too. But there's absolutely nothing from stopping you running a regular 15mm hub in the dropouts in the Lyrik. While RockShox hasn't made the fork bigger, you still got 35mm stanchions, you still got the 15mm Maxwell on the bottom. The fork has crept up in weight, so it isn't going to be as light as the pike, but when you're riding the trails here, you really notice that the fork's it holds the line better, it tracks better. You don't come into like a switchback that's rocky on the brakes and feel the front end move, and I think the extra stiffness also also helps with that sensitivity, because the fork isn't flexing and binding, and that's a key part really, and it's why a dual crown fork feels so good. And I think the analogy to being a mini boxer is pretty close.